How's it going, everyone? Jeff Johnson and Jeff Linder from the Cedar Rapids Gazette here, and we are going to fire up our first Prep Hoops podcast of the season. We are past Christmas. It's going quick, Jeff, but we always say that, but it truly is. I mean, this is things really start getting ratcheted up here, and you know, all conference games pretty much here, and some have already all been conference games. But yeah, you know what would have been maybe just your overall thoughts so far, especially on the girls' side here. The first month and a half of the season.
Yeah, it's usually this time of the season, you look at the standings, you think, boy, this team's really been a big surprise. Where did this team come from? There really hasn't been that this year. Pretty much everybody that we thought was going to be really good is. Northland's girls are outstanding. They're beating people by about, I don't know, 40 points a game, 45, something like that. I think they put 97 up on Starmont on Tuesday night. They're really, really good. MVC, Xavier's good again. They played a really, really good game on Tuesday and beat Liberty pretty decisively. I think it was 67-43. They're really good again. I think they're going to just continue to get better. Iowa City West is good. Liberty's got despite the loss the other day, Liberty's got a nice team. The WAMAC is great as always. Clear Creek, Benton, Vinton in the West, Center Point Urbana is really good again. In the East, Solon's really good. Marion, Mount Vernon's good. So, like I said, I think just about everybody has pretty much played to form. There haven't been any real big disappointments either. What have you seen so far on the boys' side?
Well, there's a lot of good basketball on 42nd Street. I'll tell you that. Both Cedar Rapids Kennedy and Cedar Rapids Xavier have been great so far. And Kennedy, it was expected when you have the players returning that it did, and great point guard and Kenzie Reed. Colby Dolphin has become just a tremendous scorer as a off guard. They're 7-0 and have literally rolled every team. They haven't really had. I guess they had one close game against Cedar Falls that they won. I think ended up winning by about 10 or 11. But I mean, that's a high quality basketball team that I think has an opportunity to win a state championship if things fall right and if they play well, honestly. And in 4A, and it won't be easy, because you got your Waukee Northwest, you got straight up Waukee with Omaha Billieu, the Iowa State recruit, and you've got all those powers in suburban Des Moines that are really good, and but Kennedy's a legit team. This is certainly the best team that John McConnell's had, and since he's been there, and they're so deep, they can shoot it. They've got some size, even though it's a little inexperienced. They can rotate many guys in and out. They play, that scrappy, scrambling, kind of trap defense that throws a lot of teams off. So certainly a legit team. And then, you go down or up the street, depending on how you look at it, with Cedar Rapids Xavier, with sitting here at 8-0 as well. So that's a surprise, at least to me. Maybe I should have saw it coming. You always wonder, Jeff, with the football, the long football season. They've got some football guys that certainly play, but they also have their two main guys, or three of their starters are just basketball guys too, including their two best players in Aiden Yamelkowski and Joe Bean. They're just basketball only guys, so they were ready to go right away, and team that plays very hard. As some size, in the middle, with a 6'9", 6'10" kid, and Nedalicki, who's really improved here in his junior year, and they've beaten everybody that they've been scheduled against, and not quite sure, Jeff, if the MVC is as strong as it has been in recent years. Honestly, I think when you look at it, you got Iowa City West is pretty good. Maybe probably not a classically great West team. Cedar Falls has already lost 3 games. Lost to Waterloo East the other night. The Big Seniors undefeated. Haven't seen them, but like I said, Power and 42nd Street, and then some of the other clubs, like you said, that have kind of played to form. So far, Northland's, not really missing a beat, even though they lost. There are no Hilmers except just coaching this year. So that's a very, very good basketball team and undefeated. And, yeah, so it goes. So,
So Xavier and Kennedy have already played on the girls' side. They obviously have not on the boys' side if they're still both undefeated. When do they get together?
it's late in the year. I'm going to effort that real quick because I just looked at that. I want to say not till February sometime. Um, Maybe, and they only play once, which is unique. You would think that they would play twice, right? Just because of the proximity and
Mhm.
all that. Yeah, it's very late, second to last game of the regular season for Xavier on February 14th. So,
Wouldn't that be something if they were both still undefeated, number one at
how
that
about
point?
that?
They
Yeah, that would be a
that
great story. Great
that's
story.
that's actually a game that probably could be played at Extreme Arena, and we'll segue there. You're going to be there Sunday. Can you say that? For
That's
girl boy doubleheader between City High and West. I think it's 4 and 5:30. You're down there a lot for Heartlanders games. I imagine that'll be a really good environment for a basketball game. Just your thoughts about the Little Hawks and the Trojans getting together on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen volleyball in there, obviously, and it works. It'll be I mean, it'll be interesting. How it works with basketball. I don't know if they ever have they played a basketball game in there of any
I
kind,
don't think so.
of any kind.
I don't think so.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting how that works out. But it's a neat stage, I think, Jeff, for those kids, and playing on a Sunday makes it even more special. Certainly because you are literally the only game in the state. And it is 4 and 5:30, by the way. Just double checked on that. So, pretty neat deal. Two big rivalry or rivals, going at it. You had the thing at Kinnick, I guess, to start the football season with Liberty and City High, and now you have this on a little smaller stage. But I think still pretty cool for both the boys and the girls. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wonder if they'll put a curtain up and kind of shift the court away from the middle of the arena and kind of intimate it up a little bit, or if they'll just say, "Hey, we're gonna have 5,000 seats available." My guess is that's probably what they'll do. Is that everybody, all seats would have side angles to the court, but I guess we'll see. That would be a really good place for sub-state games.
Yeah, and you wonder if that's possible,
Yeah,
right? I mean, we didn't have that last year. I don't believe anywhere around the state. Did Sioux City have maybe
maybe
Tyson
Tyson
Center?
Center had some. I don't know, but
Yeah, I know there wasn't any obviously in Cedar Rapids, which has been a traditional thing.
right.
Uh, but yeah, it's a pretty much a perfect size. I think not too big, not too small. So there's plenty of other things going on there. So
Yeah.
it's busy building down there for college wrestling last week. So um, they've certainly made use of that building. No question about that. So Jeff, wanted to talk about now that we've had some time with the shot clock officially in play. Um, from what I've seen, absolutely very, very few issues with not resets or non-resets and things like that. That has just not been a problem at all for me. From what I've seen, what have you seen, and how do you think, if at all, that has changed the game? On the girls' side.
I think the effect has been minimal. Um,
Mhm.
Certainly hasn't been a negative. When you and I are at Wells Fargo here in 7, 8, 9 weeks, I think we're going to be glad that we've got it, because teams aren't going to be holding the ball with a 2-point lead with 4 minutes to go, or first possession of overtime. I have nothing bad to say about it. I've seen no real snafus. There was one close to the end of a shot clock at the end of the Kennedy Xavier girls game that did they get it off? Did they not get it off? I think it was a 3-point game, and Xavier made a shot to make it 5. The officials stopped and they huddled. Did we get this right or not? And they did. Actually, we had a photographer at the game, and so we had photo evidence. We had the shot and the number of ones still on the clock above it. So that was kind of fortuitous on our account that we had that. But I haven't seen anything bad. I think one project I'd like to do is at the end of the season, compare points per game, compare shooting percentages, turnovers per game now against last year. I don't think we can really do it now because we're still only halfway through a season.
Agreed.
But I think then we'll know, and I think we're going to find out that it really hasn't made much of a difference.
I think I think it changes. I think it's smart as heck for teams to pick up a little bit more full court, or even 3/4 court, just to try. That kills seconds off the shot clock for one. And I don't know. I think do you think it behooves teams maybe then to drop into a zone, or not necessarily. If
I
for
think
that same reason.
Yeah, I think you just got to be who you are. And I don't think I'd change a lot defensively. I think we have seen a little bit more pressing. And I think actually the shot clock gives the officials a better option to see, are they at 25 seconds yet? Have we gotten to a 10-second call? I think, there's a little bit of evidence there that they can use, whether they've gotten to a 10-second call or not. I think we've actually seen a little bit of that. But as far as playing defense, I don't know. I don't think teams are changing their identity much around it. What have you seen much of that on the boys' side?
No, I think that in talking to a couple coaches on the boys' side, they feel like it rewards good defensive teams.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because I mean, you go all out for 35 seconds, and then the other team has to shoot. Instead of maybe a more patient team, discouragingly maybe might hold the ball literally for a minute or whatever, and gives your defense more of an opportunity to break down. But I think if you're a good defensive team, the shot clock is an advantage for you, without a doubt. So that's just one thing, and it's I think that's a great thing that we both need to do at the end of the season, Jeff, is look at how the field goal percentages changed, how the turnovers changed. Like you said, were there more points or were there less points? Average per game. So, but yeah, it was a good thing. I think to me, it was kind of a lot to do about what it turned out to be nothing.
Yeah.
In a sense, I was against it. I'll admit it, 100%.
Same.
And I changed my tune. The only thing, like you said, I mean, late in those games, you got to take shots, and the huge state tournament games. We'll see how all that plays out. So
there's kind of a card out there now for football. When do you go for 2? When do you kneel? When do you run the ball? When can you still pass, depending on timeouts and stuff? Now I wonder, what's the situation? You're down 6 with 1.5 minutes to go. When do you? I'm sure a lot depends on who you're playing and stuff like that, and how many, what there is for fouls. But when do you play defense? When do you foul? And I'm sure a lot of coaches have different philosophies on that. I know it's not an NFHS rule yet, And but I would like them to see. I would like the women's basketball foul rule put in, where it's at the college level, it's 5 fouls per quarter. And then once you get to 5 fouls per quarter, it's 2 shots. There's no such thing as a 1-and-1 in women's basketball. I wouldn't mind seeing that at the prep level, maybe going 4 fouls a quarter, since there are only 8 minutes per quarter instead of 10, as there is in women's basketball. Do you have any feeling on that?
That's that's interesting. I love the 1-on-1. I love the extra pressure for what was 7th, 8th, and 9th, 3 times at least, right?
I hate it because I was a terrible free throw shooter.
There we go. There we go. That's just my feeling. But you like that in the women's game, and you think it's popular.
I really do, and you've got to see it enough. But yeah, I like it.
What do you think? You think eventually will lead to halves instead of quarters, like some states do? 2 halves, 16-minute halves.
I don't know what I don't see a whole lot of difference. I don't care.
But there are some schools that play in other states around here.
Minnesota plays 9-minute quarters, don't they?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
I think Wisconsin might play halves, if I remember correctly. Might be wrong on that. But yeah, I mean, you see it a little bit, and I've heard little coaches that do that.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about how they like the halves more than the quarters. But
yeah, the one thing I like about the women playing quarters instead of halves now at the college level is it's 1 less TV timeout per half.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
I'm sure TV doesn't like that, but
that's too bad.
Well, hey, who knows? We might get to the time and the age where, okay, we need to take an internet timeout for
streaming
at a high school level for NFHS or commercial or whatever.
And that's another thing I've really liked that the girls' union has done for with Iowa Public Television. I guess it's called Iowa PBS now, but with them televising the state finals, they don't have TV timeouts. It's just a normal game, and that's worked out really well. We don't have the long drawn out state championships like they have on the boys' side.
Man, you're making me bite my tongue right now, and you know how much I love that. You play the same game literally all season long, and then you get the championship game, and the whole timing of it is
playing 3-minute segments. It's
that's tough. Exactly. So, rankings wise, on the girls' side, did they had preseason? Did they have preseason? The union,
they do. Yep.
Union produces preseason, and now you've had what, 4 or 5?
4 or 5 different lists. Yeah.
Okay.
New one came out today.
Okay. You want to give us some hot off the press information here?
Yeah, let me find it here.
Sure. While he's looking, I'll just say that the boys union produced its first rankings right before Christmas, and if you didn't know, these are official. They're through the association. There are 2 former coaches in each class and a media member and members of the association that kind of all convene and come up with a consensus 1 through 10 in each class. And these will kind of be used as a sort of guide for helping them put together postseason brackets when it comes down to it. This coming Monday, we'll have the second set of rankings from the association, and full disclosure, I'm on the 4A poll. So, and you see something you don't like, don't be nice, but let me know if we're way off base.
So kind of tell us about your role with that. Do you come up with your top 10 and then you add it all together, or do you guys just sit and talk and okay, let's start at number 1. Let's talk about that, and then you just kind of go down the list, or do you kind of blindly not blindly, but you put in your own rankings and then everybody tabulates, or how's that work?
I would give the association, Todd Tharp, Jared Chiswick, and Chris Cuellar, load of credit because we Zoom. And again, full disclosure, me and Justin Ole, the former Drake Bulldog, go Bulldogs, right, Jeff?
Absolutely.
And Waukee coach, and Seamus Buddy, who did such a great job at North Scott for all those years. That's the 4A committee, and we got into the Zoom for the first meeting, and the association had like 20 teams. And they just kind of listed just off the cuff 1 through 20, had them listed, and then we talked about amongst ourselves, how do you feel about this? Is this legit for this team? Is this legit? Is there somebody that we should bump up out of the, off of the higher than 12 up into the top 10 and things like that? And the process probably took 20 minutes to a half hour, something like that. It was very easy. It was very easy to come to a consensus. And we're given access to, the video huddle to watch any game we want. That might or replays of games and things like that. So, and it's a good representation, different parts of the state, obviously, as well. And I think it worked very, very well. Honestly, Jeff, 4A is pretty a lot easier than 1A and probably 2A, especially, because you have that interclass thing. You have so many more schools, but I think it's a really good thing, and it's a good thing. That the list also, the association provides the latest AP poll that we can use as any sort of reference we want, as well as BC Moore, and
I know you're a fan.
No, and what's on Go Bound as well.
Yeah.
They have
I think
information ready for you.
Yeah. So, and then I'm sure you can, look at head to head and all that kind of stuff too. And
exactly. And, like I said, I think it's going to work out really well. And I think it's something that the association's really excited about. And, we're doing our best. There's no homerism or anything like that. And 3A wise, our friend Scott Unas is the media guy there. So give him all the grief you want, even if you agree with the rankings in 3A. So anyway, back to the girls. Tell us what you got.
Rankings. Johnson moves into the number 1 spot after actually Linmar beat former number 1 Waterloo West in double overtime the other day. I didn't mention Linmar when we were talking earlier, but boy, they've had some really good wins. They've beaten Iowa City West, they've beaten Waterloo West, they've beaten Xavier. They've had a couple kind of goofy losses. They lost to Marion early, they lost to Prairie early. So I think those 2 losses were by 1 point apiece. Then they got clobbered pretty good by Pleasant Valley. So, but anyway, Linmar's win over Waterloo West on Tuesday moves Johnston into the number 1 spot. PV is 2, West is 3, Linmar 10, Iowa City West is 12, Liberty 15. 4A Xavier has been, I think, wire to now number 1. They're the defending champ. Let's see, Dallas Center Grimes, North Polk are 2 and 3, Heelan 4, Ballard 5, Decorah and Clear Creek and Manor 6 and 7. Marion is 14. Defending state champ Esterville Lincoln Central is number 1 in 3A. Benton Community is 2, Solon's 4. They play each other tomorrow night at Solon.
Nice.
CPU is 6, Vinton Shellsburg 10, Mount Vernon 11. 2A, 2-time defending state champ now. Dyke New Hartford is 1. They're still undefeated. Team they beat in the final last year, Central Lyon, is 2. Cascade 6, Regina 7. And that's it for the area there. And then the 2 big giants in 1A from the last few years, Garrigan and Newell Fonda are 1 and 2, Northland's 3. And Elkader Central's 8, and then that's it for the area there.
What is why has Newell Fonda had such a run here?
They just got a system where they play a lot of kids and they run the heck out of you. They run, they can shoot. They've been kind of the 1A bigwig since they went to 5-on-5. And
Wow.
I don't have the number here, but the number of state appearances they've had since since they've been playing 5-on-5 with Coach Jungers, it's amazing what school that size, their beds enrollment. It's not like they're a big 1A. Their enrollment's about 100, 110 maybe. And they're good at a lot of sports. They've been good at football. I don't know how good they've been at boys basketball. I know off and on they've been really good.
Yeah, in the past.
But
Yeah.
that's just a school that's they take their basketball seriously.
It's good. I mean, it's good for me to see. I mean, we talk about Northland as another example, both on the boys and girls side. I mean, these are communities that aren't bedroom communities of big
Right.
cities, or they're not private schools.
Mhm.
You know, it's good to see it. To me,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, and there's a reason for it. I'm sure, like you said, the youth,
Yeah.
starting the youth young and getting them to be excited about sports and basketball is pretty important. So I wanted to maybe segue into a little bit of your project that I hope everybody read over the Christmas break, where you made your Jeff Linder's wish list for conferences and who should be in which conference. You did a lot of great work on that. You did a lot of work on that. Very
Thanks.
thorough, and very impressive. For those who didn't read it, and even for those who did, kind of tell the folks a little bit about how you went about doing this, and you know how you came up with the teams where you want them, and if the association, the union, hey, talk to this guy over here. He's got
Well,
everything all figured out for you.
yeah, that's not an association or union thing to change. I mean, if people are going to make those changes, that's the schools. I mean, the
Except
schools
for
that are,
Waverly.
yeah, and actually the Waverly situation is kind of what got me going on this. Is Waverly going to end up in the WAMAC? Are they going to end up in the MVC? Are they going to end up in the Alliance? They're going to end up in the Northeast Iowa Conference for another year, but only one more year. They would be an interesting fit in all of those. I know. Well, it's no secret the MVC doesn't want them. The WAMAC doesn't want them. Probably even worse. That leaves the Alliance. If the Alliance stays at 11 schools, I think Waverly would make a really nice addition for a 6-team North and a 6-team South. They'd go in with Marshalltown and Fort Dodge and Mason City and Waterloo East and Ames, which, and Ames I think is kind of misplaced in that league too. So, and with Ames, I started thinking, well, let's not stop there. Let's just play with the whole state a little bit. And some of the drastic changes I made were a 16-team alliance. I broke up the Missouri River Conference, sent the Council Bluffs schools in with the Hawkeye 10 with the Harlans and Lewis Centrals and those schools, and then basically expanded the Sioux City schools to I put Western Christian and Unity Christian in there, and some of those Lakes Conference schools. There's only 5 schools left in the Lakes now. That's not much of a conference. I mean, there's some really good schools there, but numerically you can't survive with 5 schools. So I just did a lot of dominoes fell, and got a lot of positive feedback with it.
Good.
I guess full disclosure, I'll throw the cat out of the bag. I did not do this in what I put out there for the online. I'm not so sure that an expanded or combined MVC and MAC isn't a good idea. I know you and I kind of talked about it a little bit. There's some schools in the MAC, a couple in the MVC that are starting to really struggle. 2 of them are here in town. And so what do you do? It's Jefferson and Washington are having trouble keeping up with the Iowa City schools, with Cedar Falls, with Kennedy, with Linn-Mar. The Davenport schools are having trouble keeping up. So, one possible solution there would be, whatever you want to call it, the Mississippi Valley Athletic Conference. Have an East Division with, I would say, the 4 Dubuque schools, including Western Dubuque, plus PV, Assumption, Bettendorf, North Scott. Having a West with Cedar Falls. Do you keep Waterloo West in there? Do you maybe send Waterloo West to the Alliance? I don't know. So Cedar Falls at least, maybe Waterloo West, Kennedy, Prairie, Xavier, Linmar, Liberty, West City. And then you come up with another division with Jeff and Wash, the 3 Davenports, Muscatine, Clinton, DeWitt. I don't know. Tell me what you think of that. I mean,
Yeah.
throw darts at it as you wish.
I was over at Jefferson the other night and talked to multiple people that I won't name, but one of them told me he didn't think Jefferson would ever come back, as he put it, or he didn't see it as far as being competitive. And was somebody that's very familiar with the middle schools over on that side of town, and he said how that they've changed as well. And he he just didn't. He was very skeptical that Jefferson would be able to compete in most sports in the current FEC and things like that. And then I talked to somebody else who said that the Alliance might be a good fit eventually for Jefferson and maybe even Washington. But the community, travel would be one question, obviously.
Yeah, it's a long ways to Fort Dodge.
Yes. And Des Moines, you can get to Des Moines if you're really hoofing it in an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. From Jefferson, you can get there pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, you got to take the travel aspect into it and how that might affect kids. But how do you balance that with, giving kids some kind of hope that they can compete when, I don't know necessarily if they have that right now in some sports. And, obviously then kids won't go out because they don't want to be a part of that situation, or they go elsewhere or what have you. So I don't know. It is an interesting idea. I hadn't even thought of it, Jeff, until you just brought it up that, Washington, Jefferson, the 3 Davenport public schools are kind of in the same boat, right? Clinton, very similar, I think, schools, that way. So I don't know. And, like you mentioned, Clear Creek's coming in the valley. I think it's just a matter of when, and I think it will be able to compete immediately. It'll be a high end school that way, I think. So, yeah.
Your roots are a lot deeper in Cedar Rapids than mine are. Do you think we're somewhere down the road, Cedar Rapids will become a 2 high school town again instead of 3?
That's a great question. Combine Wash and Jeff.
Well, I don't know about that, but maybe just redraw the lines. I heard that maybe down the road a new Kennedy might be built further west.
Yeah.
Maybe with the Highway 100, somewhere in that area. And, that people that are at Kennedy now wouldn't even, or people, if they change the lines, that people would go to the new Kennedy. Where the new Kennedy is would not be in the where the present
right
Kennedy is would not be in the future Kennedy district, if that makes sense. That it would become probably more of a Palo, Hiawatha, maybe the road, the boundary line would be Edgewood Road or something like that. But that's all whispers and stuff like that.
And then we have open enrollment where kids
Yeah,
can go wherever they want.
yeah. And we haven't
Uh,
even talked about that yet today is the what the association came up with for football, with the free and reduced lunch. I think that's a good step. But it's only a step
yeah.
because it's only football, and I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. But I don't know. There's a lot of inequity out there amongst the big schools, and it's going to take somebody with a lot higher IQ than me to
And
fix
me.
it.
But
So
I give, you're right. We didn't talk about the football socioeconomic equation that they're going to use, I guess. They're being open
mhm.
about addressing, what, obviously has become an issue. And I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah,
Will there ever be a perfect system? No.
yeah,
But I think people are striving to try and address the equity issue, as you said, especially at the big school level. So
yeah.
you
Um,
didn't think you didn't I'm sorry, Jeff, you didn't think, I mean, you did a lot of study on that, the football thing. You don't think that's going to make a whole lot of change, at least as it is right now, the first year or two,
it's a start.
going up and down.
Um, I think Jefferson's still going to be in the big school class.
Okay.
Even with this, it would move Washington down. I think maybe the next step they need to do is make 5A smaller,
Okay.
maybe much smaller, maybe as few as 18 to 24 schools for football. I mean, you can't pick and choose who it would be. You'd still have to go by this formula. But, the 8 schools, the CIML schools are kicking tail right now.
Right.
And, those schools should be in that. Other than that, I don't know, Cedar Falls, Kennedy, the Iowa City schools, PV, Bettendorf. What do you do with the Dubukes? What do you do with the Sioux City schools? I don't know. Maybe you keep 5A and have 2 divisions of 5A. I don't know. That's, like I said, do you have any good ideas? Because I have ideas, but I don't know how many of them are good.
People, there's some theories out there. How about a success equation, like somebody like Xavier,
Yeah.
even though its enrollment is smaller, dominates in 4A. Should it move up to 5A?
Yeah, but then you're penalizing people for being good.
You're right. You're right. Exactly right. And it's kind of like the English soccer, and I hate
Yeah.
that. I hate that comparison, but they got teams
Yeah.
that fluctuate at
Mhm.
both ends, go up and down according to how they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, there's no perfect system,
Yeah.
and
I'll put my high school to, I'll put that in that. I mean, 2 years when I was a sophomore, our basketball team was 20-2. And by the time I was a senior, my senior class, including me, wasn't very athletic. In 2 years, we went from 20-2 to 1-18 in basketball. Could you imagine us being up a class? Oh God.
a good
So
fit in the Tri Rivers, though, don't you think? North Cedar, or not necessarily?
yeah. Yeah, they're
Competitive standpoint.
yeah, I think so. They've got a lot of work to do in a lot of different sports. North Cedar does. I did like one thing I did with the River Valley Conference is cutting it in half and putting the Big Bend and Eastern Iowa Hawkeye Conference back in business.
I like that. I like that. Old school, baby. Old
Yeah.
school. That is a huge conference.
Yeah. And
That is a huge conference.
most of the big schools are in the North Division. So I think, geographically and and culture wise, I think that would be a good split.
Sure. I think I interrupted you. You were going to say something earlier
I don't
before I
remember.
dove into the football stuff.
No, we were just talking about conferences. When you look through that, was there anything that you really liked or really hated?
No, I thought it was very, very well thought out, and it made sense. Honestly, I thought it was very well done, Jeff. Kudos on that. So, like I said, the Gazette.com, if you didn't read it, it's in there. Just click on Jeff's icon on the sports, and you'll be able to scroll down to it. So, real quick, Iowa women. That's your other main beat here. This winter, what have you seen? Another exciting game the other night against Illinois, and high scoring game, and unfortunately a loss. So, what have you seen from the Hawkeyes?
They're a very entertaining team, like we knew they'd be. They've got some flaws, like we thought they probably did. They're a lot like they were last year. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to draw a lot of fans. And, how far can they go? I don't know. I thought they were a little high at number 4 to start the season. I'm on the AP committee, and I think I started them at 8 or 9, and now they're kind of in the mid-teens, and that's kind of the way they're playing right now. When they're good, they're really good. Can they be really good for 3 days at the Big Ten tournament or for 4 rounds in the NCAA to get to, I think it's Dallas this year? I don't know. Caitlin Clark's a lot of fun to watch. Monica Sonano's, people like to say she's a walking bucket. I'd prefer say she's a really efficient inside player. They've got good pieces around them. Hannah Stolke's had a really nice start to her career at the next level, and I think she needs to play more. And Gabby Marshall struggled, and I think she needs to shoot better. So I don't know. There were about 8 weeks from Big Ten tournament, and they're going to be in the mix for the regular season championship, I would think. And they're going to have their hands full Saturday at Michigan. If they could win, if they could steal one on the road, that would be good.
A lot of excitement for the women's program.
Yeah.
That's good to see.
A lot of people go down to watch them. They had 11,000 for the Purdue game at 8:00 on a Christmas break weeknight, and that's great. They're a good draw. I mean, they're kids that if you're a fan, that you could get behind and root for.
Are the ticket prices the same as they are for the men's games? Any idea?
I'm guessing not. They have to be cheaper, I think. I don't know what I don't know what the comparison is. I don't know what the men are drawing, but my guess is the women are probably pretty close to outdrawing them. I think they're at about 10,000 a game.
And wrestling too, drawing well.
Yeah.
So very interesting. So, all right. Anything else you want to hit before we take off?
No, this has been a good one. We've covered a lot of things. I'll be at right now. I'm thinking Vinton at Marion girls on Friday. And then next week we'll see. How about yourself?
Xavier and Iowa City West, I think tomorrow night down in Iowa City. A couple of teams that are ranked in their respective classes.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, should be. And then we'll be back down in the south end of the corridor on Sunday for City High and West doubleheader. So I think, and then next week, who knows?
Yeah.
A game at a time, I guess.
Yeah, That's right. We're living day to day.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. For Jeff Linder, this is Jeff Johnson. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be doing this on a weekly basis, our prep basketball podcast here. also obviously talk about some other things as well, Iowa women and whatever else we can think of. So thanks for joining us this week, folks. We'll look at you again next week. Take care. Have a good weekend.